But first, news that's just broken a short while ago. Strong statements from the External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar reiterating India's position in the standoff with Canada. Speaking at the Hudson Institute in the United States, Jaishankar said India has told Canada killing is not our policy. Remember, it's the reiteration of India's stand, and Mr. Jaishankar has been saying this all along. He's also said that India will examine proof if Canada provides it, and that the Canadian government harbours terrorists on their soil. Not new statements, but strong words coming out as a reiteration from the External Affairs Minister who's in the United States, where he was there to attend the United Nations General Assembly session. He had met with top US officials, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken yesterday, and these statements are coming out today from the Hudson Institute, where the External Affairs Minister was speaking.
What he was alleging was not consistent with our policy, and that if his government had anything relevant and specific, they would like us to look into. In the last few years, it has come back very much into play because of what we consider to be a very permissive Canadian attitude towards terrorists, extremists, people who openly advocate violence. And they have been given operating space in Canada because of the compulsions of Canadian politics. For us, it has certainly been a country where organized crime from India mixed with trafficking in people, mixed with secessionism, violence, terrorism. It's a very toxic combination of issues and people who have found operating space there.
Meanwhile, some interesting comments coming out of Canada from Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Canada is committed to closer ties with India, he said. Canada assessed that allies must continue to engage with India. India, a growing economic power, India, an important geopolitical player. These are statements that are coming out of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. But will they be enough to repair the possible damage to India-Canada ties? We don't know.
Secretary Blinken is going ahead with this meeting with the Indian counterpart, despite the allegations that Canada is making.
Oh, I think it's extremely important that all of us continue to engage constructively and seriously with the government of India. India is a growing economic power, an important geopolitical player. And as we presented with our Indo-Pacific strategy just last year, we're very serious about building closer ties with India.
Justin Trudeau clearing the air on the Jaishankar-Blinken bilateral in New York. The two leaders met in the run-up to the India-US 2+2 dialogue scheduled for October end. But the question top of the mind was whether the two leaders would discuss Trudeau's allegations of credible intelligence pointing to Indian government's involvement in Hardeep Singh Nijjar's killing.
And I actually look forward to seeing you in Delhi for 2+2.
Going by the statements issued by both sides, the matter didn't come up. Meanwhile, Canadian media reports have also raised questions about Nijjar's killing as well as the investigations into it. Quoting Balraj Nijjar, Hardeep's son, the Vancouver Sun reports that Hardeep Singh Nijjar met CSIS, Canada's intelligence service, every week before his killing. This new angle puts a question mark on Trudeau's allegation of Indian government's agents being involved. And it isn't just Indian and the Canadian media questioning Trudeau's credible intelligence claims. Canada's opposition leader, whose Conservative Party is leading opinion polls against Trudeau's Liberal Party, has also torn into Justin Trudeau's claims.
I think the Prime Minister needs to come clean with all the facts. We need to know all of the evidence possible so that Canadians can make judgments on that. He didn't tell me any more in private than he told Canadians in public, so we want to see more information.
A downward spiraling economy battling inflation as well as a housing crisis, Canada led by Trudeau seems to have hit hard times. Justin Trudeau heads for polls in these unhappy circumstances. Trudeau's government is propped up by Khalistan supporting Jagmeet Singh's NDP. Many claim these political compulsions are behind Justin Trudeau's allegations against India. But as of today, this move of dragging the Indian government into Nijjar's killing seems to be backfiring for him both at home and abroad. With Srishti Shankar, Bureau Report, NDTV.
Remember, Trudeau has bigger worries for himself in Canada. His approval ratings have dipped to 27% just in 2021. His rating stood at 40%, while opposition leader Pierre's rating stand at a strong 37%. This is to put into context the fact that some observers point out that the allegations made against India are possibly because of domestic political calculus for the Canadian Prime Minister. His approval rating, as I mentioned, down to 27% now. Food and real estate inflation are big worries in Canada. The approval ratings of the opposition leader is up at 37%. So that's another element that's being watched out by diplomats closely as the India-Canada row unfolds itself. Where this plays out, we'll keep a close track. But from that diplomatic winter, if I may call it that, between India and Canada, to the winter that's approaching in the national capital. Is the national capital pollution ready for this winter? It's not. And Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has come up with a 15-point plan to combat pollution. It includes identifying of hotspots and action plan to get things ready on time. But will it work? And if not, where does the buck stop? Vedant Agarwal has this special report.
At the onset of the pollution season in Delhi, the capital sky cloaked in grey. In neighbouring Punjab, the fields beginning to turn black and the skies smoky. As North India's now annual air quality crisis kicks in, Arvind Kejriwal, the boss of the ruling party in both states, rolled out the government's winter action plan. Many important announcements have been made by Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal in the winter action plan. 13 pollution hotspots have been identified. A war room will also be formed during the peak pollution season. Other than this, the deployment of smog guns and teams to monitor industrial and vehicular pollution have also been announced. Meanwhile, Arvind Kejriwal's policy of a complete ban on firecrackers will also continue, and the decomposer technology for stubble burning as well. Visually, the most prominent causes of Delhi's pollution have been an uncontrolled rise in the number of vehicles in Delhi and these stubble fires. Chief Minister Kejriwal says the Aam Aadmi Party's solutions have worked in both states.
PUC सर्टिफिकेट्स की जांच करने के लिए और 10 साल से पुराने डीजल व्हीकल और 15 साल से पुराने पेट्रोल व्हीकल्स को प्रतिबंध के कंप्लायंस के लिए 385 टीम्स गठित की गई हैं। पिछले साल पंजाब का डेटा ये दिखाता है कि 6-7 महीने में जो भी स्टेप्स लिए गए थे उससे 30% उसके पहले साल के मुकाबले 30% पराली कम जली।
Even though stubble burning cases came down 30% last year, over 35 lakh acres of farmland was still set on fire. For the farmers of Punjab, alternative crops are too expensive and access to machines for destroying the stubble is still a pipe dream. The Chief Minister says air pollution has declined in the last couple of years under the Aam Aadmi Party government. But in reality, what has declined are the PM10 pollutants, not the smaller and deadlier PM2.5 particulate matter which settle deep in the lungs and spread to other organs. Experts are concerned about the effectiveness of the yearly winter action plan.
Of course, implementation is going to be another chapter. For example, say now these war rooms and apps, they of course they serve a purpose, but they cannot replace the real boots on the ground.
What you see behind me will be completely masked in smog in just a few weeks from now. Well, what we need is round-the-year attention as far as pollution is concerned and not just emergency measures. In New Delhi with camera person Manoj Thakur, Vedant for NDTV.
Now to an NDTV exclusive. Details of how the police in Madhya Pradesh solved the rape of a 15-year-old mentally challenged girl. Video of the girl walking the streets seeking help after the assault had sparked off nationwide outrage. Not just about the perpetrator who was arrested, but also perhaps how our society stands exposed as bystanders who do little to help. even children in distress. NDTV's Anurag Dwari reports.
The father of the Ujjain rape accused asking for the death penalty for his son if found guilty.
अबे गलत क्या बाबूजी, बहुत ज़्यादा गलत हुआ है ये तो कोई भी हुआ, इसको तो सज़ा मिलना चाहिए। इसको तो क्या सज़ा मिलेगी? उसको सिवा मौत के सिवा और क्या सज़ा दे सकते हैं आप?
This, as the MP police said that it took an extraordinary effort to crack the case, interrogating hundreds of people, scanning footage from over 700 CCTV cameras before they found links to the main accused, an auto driver, who allegedly picked up the survivor from the Ujjain railway station.
इन्वेस्टिगेशन की टीम में शुमार पुलिस अधीक्षक महोदय ने लगभग 30-35 लोगों को लगाया और साइबर के सारे अधिकारी और कर्मचारी उसमें लग गए। 3-4 दिनों में कोई भी सोए नहीं है। जब हम घटना का मुख्य स्थान देखने जा रहे थे तो उस स्थान पर पहुंचकर वो उसने जैसे ही देखा कि मौका है भागने का, खुला खेत था, तो उसने भागने का प्रयास किया। पुलिसकर्मी भी उसके पीछे भागे और उन्होंने उसको पकड़ने का प्रयास किया। तो जीवन खेड़ी के पास एक सीमेंटेड रोड है जो लगभग 1.25 फुट ऊपर है।
Police have registered a case against auto driver Rakesh Malviya because the survivor also boarded his auto at some point after the crime was committed, but Malviya did not inform the police despite her condition, something the police say is an offence under the stringent POCSO Act. But the question is why the police not acting against those who did not help the survivor, as she walked on the streets of Ujjain for hours.
देखिए, प्रथम दृष्टया एक ऑटो चालक द्वारा ये जानते बूझते पुलिस को सूचना नहीं दी है तो उसके खिलाफ पुलिस कार्रवाई कर रही है। और अन्य व्यक्तियों के बारे में जो आपने पूछा है उसमें वीडियो फुटेज का अध्ययन किया जाएगा। वीडियो फुटेज में स्पष्ट ये चीज़ आती है कि उनके द्वारा मदद नहीं की और घटना के बारे में पुलिस को जानकारी नहीं दी गई। तो उसकी जानकारी एकत्र करके अगर ऐसा संभव होता है और हमें साक्ष्य मिलते हैं तो उनके खिलाफ वैधानिक कार्रवाई करेंगे।
सर, हम राष्ट्रपति महोदय के इंतजाम ड्यूटी में लगे थे सर। माननीय रक्षित निरीक्षक महोदय जी का आदेश के अनुसार सर हमको पता चला और सर हम सबसे पहले दोनों आगे आए और ब्लड देने सर हॉस्पिटल में पहुंचे सर।
However, in a display of humanity, 2 policemen donated blood to the girl, helping her survive, and the police officer who solved the case wants to adopt the girl.
In a dead city, some people were found alive. If those doors had life, they would have opened up themselves to help the girl, because whom we consider alive were standing at the door as if nothing has happened. It is a crime under POCSO. Hopefully, these people will be punished so that an example can be set. With Lalit and camera person Rizwan Khan in Bhopal, Anurag Dwari for NDTV.
Down south, to the impact of the Bandh call by various farmers, political and social outfits in Karnataka to demand the stoppage of release of water to Tamil Nadu on the Kaveri River. Public transport was available and government offices were working in Karnataka, but private cabs, businesses and schools were shut down. 44 flights were cancelled as several passengers cancelled their tickets. There was heavy police presence in several parts of the state, especially in the Kaveri heartland of Mandya. Political reactions too poured in for the Bandh from across political spectrum. Pratibha Raman was out on the streets of Bengaluru to file this report.
If it was a Bengaluru Bandh day before, it was an entire Karnataka shutdown from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Friday. Kannada activists protesting at the airport were picked up by the police and, like most protesters in many parts of the city, were sent to Freedom Park in Bengaluru with the cops imposing Section 144. While they didn't achieve a change in the quantum of Kaveri water to be released by Karnataka, what they did achieve was disrupting normal life and cancellation of flights. 22 incoming flights and 22 outgoing flights were cancelled at the Kempegowda International Airport in the city due to operational reasons. Most passengers reportedly cancelled flights.
ಈ ಬಂದು ಕನ್ನಡ ಒಕ್ಕೂಟ ಕನ್ನಡ ಪರ ಸಂಘಟನೆಗಳು ಇಡೀ ರಾಜ್ಯದ ಬಂದ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾವು ಅತ್ಯಂತ ಗೌರವ ಸೂಚಿಸುತ್ತೇವೆ. 5ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಕರ್ನಾಟಕ ಕಂಡರಿಯದತ್ತ ಮೆರವಣಿಗೆ.
Some protesters burnt effigies of Tamil Nadu CM Stalin, some others rolled on the ground, and another set of protesters conducted a mock funeral. While government buses and metros were operational, autos, cabs and private vehicles were off the roads. Theatres were shut and Kannada actors like Shivraj Kumar, Darshan, Pooja Gandhi and more gathered to express their solidarity.
And we should bring the pressure to both the governments and the central and the Supreme Court so that they can just understand the problem of the people and get amicable result. 100% I'll try to speak with both the governments also. I will try to take the film industry people so that we'll have a proper, cooperation between each other.
Even though the Congress government hasn't encouraged the Bandh call, all the shops, schools, hotels and offices were shut. As much as Kaveri is an emotional issue for the two states, it is political as well.
ಸ್ಟಾಲಿನ್ ಅವರ ಹತ್ರ ನೀವು ಮನವರಿಕೆ ಮಾಡಿಸಿ ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆ ಒಂದ್ ರೀತಿ ಪರ್ಮನೆಂಟ್ ಆಗಿ ಸಾಲ್ವ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು ಅಂತಂದ್ರೆ ಕರ್ನಾಟಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಮೇಕೆದಾಟು ಪ್ರಾಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಸುಮಾರು ಒಂದು 20 ವರ್ಷದಿಂದ ಪೆಂಡಿಂಗ್ ಇದೆ. ತಮಿಳುನಾಡಿನ ಒಂದು ತಕರಾರಿನ ಕಾರಣದಿಂದಾಗಿ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ಎನ್ಒಸಿ ಪಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳುವಂತ ಒಂದು ಪ್ರಯತ್ನವನ್ನು ಕೂಡ ಮಾಡಿ
ಇವತ್ತು ರಿಟೈರ್ಡ್ ಸುಪ್ರೀಂ ಕೋರ್ಟ್ ಜಡ್ಜಸ್ ಅವ್ರನ್ನ ಮೀಟಿಂಗ್ ಕರೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ ಈಗ 4 ಗಂಟೆಗೆ.
Of course, we do hear that the government will be heading to the Supreme Court once again for an appeal to reduce or have a distress sharing formula that can be observed between Karnataka and Tamil Nadu as far as Kaveri river water is concerned. With camera person Govind, Pratibha Raman in Bengaluru for NDTV.
To the top international story, at least 52 people were killed and over 130 injured in a suicide blast near a mosque in Pakistan's restive Balochistan province on Friday when people were gathering for a rally to celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad. According to media reports, the explosion occurred near Medina Mosque in the Mastung district. Pakistan media reported Mastung's deputy superintendent of police Nawaz Gashkori, who was on duty for the rally, was also amongst those killed. Well, Indian shooters, though, are on target at the Asian Games and they are helping India's overall quest for medals. As of now, India's medal tally has reached 31. In this exclusive interview to NDTV, Indian shooters Palak Gulia and Isha Singh declare Indian shooting has arrived. They were in conversation with NDTV's Osama Shah.
Isha, Palak, I want to hear from you. What are your reactions after making your country proud and winning these medals?
I'm feeling very grateful and I'm very proud of our entire team. Yeah, same. Like it's a proud moment for all of us, all the entire Indian contingent. So yes, I feel very grateful for everything.
You also see what it does to the people traveling with their family. These shooters, we saw Sachinji holding the tricolor while these young girls were shooting during their event. Palak and Isha, I also want to ask you about the fact that India has now won 6 golds from shooting itself. What does it say about the whole group, about the group as a whole?
Basically, 6 gold medals only by our sport shows that how we are growing. Like shooting is no longer, like a sport that is not viewed as much. Players are not as good as the others in the world. So like our sport, this shows that Indian shooting is getting better and better, and it will get better, more better. And
before we say goodbye to both of you, can you please show us your medals for everyone in the country to see? Lovely, fantastic.
They're very, very heavy.
Well deserved.
Well, they're on target there. That's all we have time for on this show. The news continues here on NDTV.